What is up, guys? Do you want to prevent your AV receiver from melting down like Chernobyl? Well, let me suggest a product to you right after the break. Hey guys, I am Steady Chaos. This is Steady Chaos Productions, and today I wanted to review quickly for you guys the Aircom Infinity T10 exhaust fan system for AV receivers. Now, if you're like me, you have an AV receiver in your home theater system. Obviously, if you're going to have a home theater system, you're going to have an AV receiver. I have the Denon X6500H that I got back in 2018, and it throws off some serious heat, some serious power. I think it's rated at 140 watts per channel. It can do 11.2 channels. Currently, I have a configuration of 5.2.4, so that's 5 surrounds, 2 subs, and 4 Atmos speakers. And when I run those speakers at reference levels when I'm watching a movie, I don't run reference level too often, but if I am running reference level, then certainly my Denon X6500H gets really hot. When I first bought the receiver, it wasn't uncommon for it to get up to 110, 115, 120 degrees after prolonged periods of use. Of course, the receiver is slotted into my entertainment stand, so it doesn't have the best airflow and air circulation around it because it's sort of tucked in there. So enter the Aircom Infinity T10. Now, the Aircom Infinity T10 serves one purpose, and that's to keep your AV receiver nice and cool and efficient for years to come. After all, anytime electronics generate heat or build heat that is above 93 to 95-ish degrees Fahrenheit, that's when the internal circuitry gets strained and stressed. That's when you add wear and tear to your components, and that's when you potentially shorten the lifespan of your receiver or whatever other electronic device that you're using. Now, the Aircom Infinity T10 is a premium looking product. It looks like a high quality, well-made piece of AV equipment that would fit in your AV rack. I have the dimensions listed right here, 17 by 13.5 by 1.5 inches, and that is pretty much the exact same dimensions as my Denon X6500H. So it sits right on top of that Denon, and as you can see, it kind of settles right in there, and honestly, unless you're really looking for it, you wouldn't even notice. It almost looks like an extension of the receiver itself, which is really, really nice. If it weren't for the LCD panel on the Aircom Infinity, you wouldn't probably notice it at all. Now, the underside of the Aircom Infinity has 3 pulse width modulation fans that pull up air from the receiver, hot air when it's in use, and vent it out the front. You can get other models too that vent it out the top or the back. It just depends on your entertainment stand configuration and what you're looking for. The 3 fans are secured with anti-vibration silicone mounts to minimize noise, so they operate pretty quietly and pretty efficiently. When set on the lowest settings, you certainly will not hear the fans if you are listening to a movie at, say, moderate volume levels. Of course, that changes as you turn the fans up higher, but we'll get into that in just a moment. In terms of airflow, when set to high, the Aircom Infinity can push out about 160 cubic feet per minute of air, so certainly it can move some air in a pinch if need be. And when set on its lowest setting, the Aircom Infinity operates quite quietly and puts out about 24 decibels of noise. That's roughly equivalent to the sound of somebody whispering, and to put that in perspective, 10 decibels is roughly the sound of somebody breathing. So certainly the Aircom Infinity can push some air on the highest settings, but on the low settings, it's also quite quiet and operates nice and smoothly and will not be a distraction to your movie watching experience. Now, what I'd like to do is bring the camera in close to the Aircom Infinity T10 that I have in the living room sitting on top of my X6500H, where we will discuss all of the Infinity T10's various functions and settings. So let's do that right now. Alright, so here we are looking at my Aircom Infinity T10. We are looking at the LCD display. So let's quickly go over what these numbers mean. So here you have the 80-degree setting, then you have the 90-degree alarm, and then you have the 78-degree probe. The 80-degree setting is basically, it functions like a thermostat. So by setting this Aircom Infinity to 80 degrees, once it detects that the receiver has gotten up to 80 degrees or higher, it will automatically turn the fans on, and it will keep that temperature within 80 degrees or ideally lower. If it can get the temperature lower, the fans will shut off. This 90-degree setting right here is the alarm setting. If the Aircom Infinity detects that your receiver has gotten to 90 degrees or higher, it will set an alarm and let you know audibly that, hey, your receiver is basically getting really, really hot. You're probably going to want to do something about this. When the Aircom Infinity detects that it's reached that alarm threshold, then it will automatically turn all the fans on to the maximum setting. This 78-degree temperature setting here, that is the probe temperature. That is the current temperature reading of my Denon X6500H. Now, there's a few ways that you can set up your Aircom Infinity. Here I have it on auto. So as we said, if my receiver gets to 80 degrees or higher, the Aircom Infinity will automatically turn on the fans and it will push out the hot air through its forward-facing exhaust vents here. You can change this temperature setting by using the up and down toggle buttons right here. So if you want your temperature setting to be lower, you just push it down to 79. If you want it to be higher, you can push it up to as high as you'd like. I keep mine generally around 81, 82-ish. You can change this to the smart setting. Now the smart setting is more of an eco-friendly mode. The smart setting will allow the Aircom Infinity to adjust the fan speed when necessary based on the temperature of your receiver. So if the Aircom Infinity senses that the temperature gets up to, say, my setting of 82 degrees, it will turn on the fan to, say, setting 1. If that proves to be inadequate and the temperature gets up to 84 or 85 degrees, it will continue to increase the fan speed until it gets the temperature down. Once I believe the temperature is, I think it's 2 degrees below the setting here, so if it were 80, then it would turn down the fan speed 1 tick lower. If it gets 4 degrees below your setting speed, so if it were to get to 78, then the smart fan would turn itself off entirely. The other settings, you have an on setting, which is a manual function. So if you turn it to on, then the fans will automatically run regardless of the temperature reading. And in this setting, you can turn the fan speed up. So you can go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 being the highest fan speed. As you can tell, if I put it back on 6, it is very audible, very loud. I would not use fan speed 6 on this particular device, and there really is no need to. In my experience, using fan speed 1 or 2 is more than sufficient to keep your receiver nice and cool. Man, the thing is really blowing on me over here. And now if you wanted, you could set this to off so the fans would not operate at all. And then you can set this to alarm, where you can adjust the temperature setting with the toggle up and down buttons here. So if you want to set it to 100 degrees, you can set it to 100 degrees, and if, again, the Aircom Infinity detects your receiver gets to 100 degrees, it will let you know with an audible alarm, and it will turn the fans on max. If you want to turn the alarm setting off, you can turn the temperature all the way up to 140 degrees. And once you're at 140 degrees, you would hit the up button again, and then you see that it is now off, or OF. But let's turn mine back down to about 91, 92 degrees. Now, if you were so inclined and you wanted to lock your settings in place, say you have a 3-year-old like me who gets a little bit handsy and likes to hit the buttons, you can hold down this button here, the 3-line button, and you'll see a locking mechanism turns on, and your Aircom Infinity is locked, so your settings cannot be changed. You can hold the button down again to unlock it. Now, if you wanted to increase the brightness of your LCD display, you could switch it to off and then hit the up and down toggle buttons, and you see it's on brightness level 2 and brightness level 3. That is the maximum brightness the unit can get to. So I like to keep mine down to 1, as that's the dimmest display. You're probably saving the most energy on that setting, and the LCD display is less distracting if you're watching in a dark environment. In all honesty, I cannot recommend this product enough. If you are like me and you've spent $2,200 on your AV receiver and you want to protect that investment, you want to make sure that investment can last for the next 7, 8, 9, 10 years even, then you want to make sure that it runs cool. You want to make sure it runs efficient. So by getting the Aircom Infinity T10, for 120 bucks, yes, it's not cheap, but when you think about it, it's a great insurance policy on your really, really expensive receiver. And like I said, it fits right on top of your receiver. It almost disappears and looks like a part of your receiver itself. It would fit right into an AV rack nicely. It has a nice premium build and construction about it, and it is pretty much a set it and forget it device and works on your behalf all the time. And the pulse width modulation fans are rated for 67,000 hours of use. And so if you put your Infinity Aircom T10 in auto or smart mode, then the fans aren't even running unless the receiver is on and the receiver is building heat. So when you think about it that way, the Aircom Infinity should last you for many, many years to come. And by default, that means your receiver should last you for many, many years to come. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know in the comment section down below and leave this video a like. And if you have not done so, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys later. Take care.